Hey everyone, Matt here from Docs Running, and today we're going to do an initial review of the Under Armour Velociti Elite 2. So this is Under Armour's super racing shoe, kind of tailored more toward longer distance stuff like marathon, half marathon efforts. The first version was something that I had mixed feelings about. I bought it for $100, so it was definitely worth $100, but I did not feel like it was worth $250 because it didn't have enough P-backs, didn't feel like a super shoe. It was comfortable and soft, but didn't feel like it had that aggressive bounce that a lot of those shoes in that price range had. The newer version, again, similar price point, there's been a lot of changes, but how I feel about it, let's talk about it. It's breaking in a little bit better, but there's some changes that make it better in some ways. In other ways, I think Under Armour still has some work to do. So let's talk about this. First, specs are not super available on Under Armour's website. It says that it's 8.2 ounces for men's size 9, women's size 10.5. I didn't find women's weight. My size 10 weighs in at 9.3 ounces, which is quite a bit heavier than the original version and quite a bit heavier than a lot of the shoes in this price range. The stack height says on Under Armour's website there's an 8mm drop and doesn't provide the actual amounts. Per Running Warehouse, there is 9.5mm more in the forefoot and 3.5 in the heel, which puts it at 39.5 in the heel, 37.5 in the forefoot for a 2mm drop, which is what Running Warehouse lists. And that's actually how it feels. It feels like a low drop shoe. My calves definitely got worked the first run that I did in these. As I kind of got used to it, I did a workout in them and it did feel better, but it definitely feels like this is a shoe that gets you up on the forefoot for a couple reasons, because it's a very, very low drop shoe, okay? So people that want a higher drop, this is probably not gonna work for you. People that want lower drop, this is actually gonna work really well. And people that like maybe slightly more anatomic, lower drop shoe, the other thing that's gonna work very, very well for you is the fact that the toe box is much more anatomic. There's not a lot of volume, it's lower volume, but the width is really good. I immediately felt this shoe is true to size. It's not slightly long like the last version. Had plenty of room for a racing shoe to kind of wiggle my toes, and it feels very rounded and really nice. So I actually really, really enjoyed that. The upper is my favorite part of this shoe, where it's even lighter than the previous version. There is a small stiff heel counter in the back here that honestly didn't bug me at all, but this is very flexible and the security is really, really good. Thin tongue, doesn't bug me, locks down well, very light, breathable. Really enjoyed the upper. The sole is where things get a little bit challenging. Again, with it being a little bit heavier, the forefoot is great, rolls really nicely. Getting up on your forefoot where there's the most P-backs here, you can see, feels really good. The P-backs in this shoe feels like the original Saucony Power and PB in the original Endorphin Pro 1, okay? It's not the bounciest foam. It's a little bit firmer, but it's definitely snappy when you pick the pace up. Running easy in it's kind of like, this shoe doesn't feel that special. When you run faster, then you get a lot more bounce, especially when you're getting off the forefoot, but it is a firmer bounce. It's not going to be soft or like very compliant, resilient like a lot of other foams. There is resiliency, it does bounce, but the compliance and compression just feel pretty low. In the heel, doesn't feel great to land on. It's not terrible, but I feel myself getting off it because the forefoot is really nice and stable. There are some very mild sidewalls up in the forefoot. It's really wide. It's got a lot more P-backs. The bounce is much better there. The midfoot and the heel are so narrow that I found myself kind of avoiding that area. Yes, what's improved from the last version is there are now sidewalls that hug the foot really nicely, but those that need stability and wobble a lot, this midfoot's not going to work for you. The heel, also being its narrowness, may not work super well. But if you like sidewalls, this actually feels really, really nice. I just find if you want a shoe that has a little bit more anatomic toe box, very tall stack height, super low drop, right? So 2mm, and a little bit heavier ride is not going to bother you, this shoe might work really well for you. I'm going to keep getting miles in this, even though it is a little bit heavier than I would like. I really want to see what this can do and see if the midsole breaks in. But I did enjoy the Saucony Endorphin Pro 1, and if you're somebody who doesn't want something mushy and a little bit firmer, this shoe might work for you, but check back because I'll have a full both video and written review soon as I can get as many miles in this as I can.